Coast Clouds podcast. This is Nick, your host. This is the new Vape podcast for vapors, where we bring you opinions, reviews, and industry news. You're listening to West Coast Clouds.
Hello, folks. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing good. I hope that the crazy stuff that's going on isn't making you too crazy. Yes. Welcome. Scott, Lamont, Thomas, Annette, Chris, Arden, Gary. Holy crap, you're all out there. Roger, Tiffany, Jana, Mike Williams in the house. What's going on, guys? How you doing? How is everybody today? How is everybody on this fine Sunday? I hope you all went to church this morning. And it's beer o'clock somewhere, so I'm having a beer. The chat might not work correctly on the live stream, but that's fine. That's fine for today. I just wanted to kind of throw out an open discussion. A lot of you guys have been messaging me, asking me what the fuck is going on. Someone messaged me today and said, do you think this is the end of vaping? No, I don't. I don't. I definitely do not think that it's the end of vaping, guys. It's going to be a little complicated, but let's just breathe and remember that at the end of the day, vaping's not going anywhere. We might have to change the way we do some things, but just hang in there. Thomas, absolutely, man. I'm using OBS. I've got my DSLR hooked up here. I've got obviously a nice microphone going in, nice light, and all you do is build some graphics in Photoshop and throw them into OBS, and adjust your cameras to where you need them to be, and you're off to the races. All free. It's all free. OBS is free. Craig, how you doing? Adam, Ashley, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I just wanted to kind of open up. This isn't the moment where I'm going to go through everything in detail, because I do want to do that at some point. But I just wanted to open up some discussion, and we can shoot the shit. We can all kind of be here in one room to talk about some stuff. See if you're curious or concerned or, all that kind of stuff. Schnazzy, says Scott. Lamont, you're stuck at work, eh? That's okay. Ain't nothing wrong. Working at the vape shop. I've got some delicious Sylvan inside of my tank. Actually, not a tank. I'm dripping. Okay, so if anybody's got a question, if anybody's concerned, anybody has something they want to bring up, something they want to talk about, let's do it. Let's shoot the shit. It's funny. I do want to read this. The first message in this Canada Gazette is the issues and why these are happening. And it says here, there are concerns that the use of vaping products with nicotine by youth and non-users of tobacco products could lead to the use of tobacco products. Currently, there are no regulations that require information to be displayed on vaping products or their packaging about the presence or absence of nicotine. That's not true. I mean, official written in like a stone document? Yeah, maybe not, but this has been discussed for a long time, and I do not know of any bottles of e-liquid out there that don't have the statement of how much nicotine is in it. And for those products that contain nicotine, a warning about its addictiveness of nicotine. Now, most of us are doing that already, right? A lot of us already have on our labels, warning, nicotine is addictive. It's not on the front, on the main display panel, but it's on there. So I understand shifting a little bit towards kind of what you see the FDA doing with the big warning on the very front. But it is just kind of funny how that is the reasoning, that there is a concern that if they're using vape products, that they will use tobacco products. That's always fun to read. I mean, the rest of it is obvious. Things like nicotine being toxic if ingested. Well, yeah, no shit. right? Hey, what's going on? What's going on, YXNGSLITZZZ? Thanks for the follow, man. I don't think we know, Scott says, I don't think we know the whole story. This would explain its confusing nature. Just a thought. Yeah, we don't know the full story. That's the funny part. Jordan Dixon, what's going on, man? But yeah, so that's kind of how they open up that document. If any of you guys have read it, right? Lamont says, makes no fucking sense. Yeah, I'm going to start vaping all these amazing flavors and then say, I'm going to start smoking fucking dirt. Right? Like, it just doesn't work that way. I've never met anybody, I've never heard of anybody who was vaping and then switched to tobacco. Now, the only way that actually happens is if you ban vaping. Do you understand what's happening here, Canada? You literally are saying that kids are going to get hooked on vaping products and then that they'll eventually switch to tobacco products. Well, you're setting that up real good here. You're really setting that up. So it starts to make you kind of wonder, right? What's going on, Robin? How you doing? Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I mean, basically the whole shabamble here, the summary of everything is that they're just officially making label requirements, and they're making child resistant. We'll get into that. We're not going to get into that right now. We're not going to talk about we could talk about child resistant stuff right now, but there's not enough information for us to really dive deep into that yet. Mike Williams says, okay, so over the next 10 years, we are going to see tobacco companies quit making cigarettes. Over time, I feel like we will see massive changes into the industry. First thing will be the levels will be changing yearly. This is a year one. Okay, there's more there. I can't read it all. The next year, we'll have to take colors out of any designs. I see us going to plain labels, nothing else. I also see warning advertisements coming for vaping from Health Canada. I'll take the devil's opinion here, but I see massive changes. It's just what happens when you take billions of dollars away from one industry. They're going to adapt or change what they do in order to survive. That's from Mike Williams. Thanks, Mike. Lamont Bailey says it's all a cash grab by the government. Yes, this is true. This is very true. We lost our tunes here. Let's get some tunes back here. It's always about money, right? I remember a little scandal with the Red Cross where they had bad blood and they wanted to use it up before they used the good blood to save money, and a lot of people got hurt. A lot of people got sick. They can't do what they do to smokes tax-wise, so they put forth all the bullshit regulations in order to fine us, to make their paper. Well, Lamont, you know what I think? I think with these rules comes another set of rules, right? And so further down the line, when they do all these changes, when they put all these new label requirements on, when they do all these child-resistant bottles, when they remove all the colors, when they remove all the flavors, they're going to say it again. They're going to say, hey, there's still a teen vaping epidemic, and now we're going to tax it. You know what I mean? It's just like a spiral. But I still don't believe that we should be freaking out. I really don't. We're survivors. We've always been survivors. We'll always find a way around things. We're here for a reason, and I don't think that this is enough to scare us away or make us stop. I got a lot of you guys sending me messages. What do you think? Are we going to be just selling e-liquid now and no vaping products? I don't think so. I think it'll happen. It'll come. It's going to be a struggle, but it'll get figured out. You know, there's no, if you throw your hands up in the air and you run away and you're scared and you quit and you go, oh, this is it, this is the end. That's not the attitude to have. Look at the UK. They went through a lot of changes and they're fine, and they adapted and they changed. Vaping isn't going anywhere, guys. It might be a little bit more stricter, it might be a little more tough to deal with these things, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. And if you don't have the energy and you don't have the time and it just frustrates you too much, then throw in the towel. That's fine. The rest of us aren't going anywhere. Hey, Wendy, how you doing? Joey, Chris, Lisa? It's kind of nerve-wracking for the little guys. It is. Absolutely. It always is. It's always going to be. But I want you to remember that in any business, in anything, even if we weren't doing vape stuff, It's always going to be a struggle. And if it's not a struggle, then you're not fucking trying hard enough and you're not winning hard enough. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Mike Williams says it's not meant to. It's the realization that we are becoming the new form of smoking for the younger generation. We're going to have some kickbacks. You know what? Yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You replace cigarettes with vaping, it doesn't mean magically that kids aren't going to do it. It doesn't mean that. You know this. Most of you who've smoked know this. You were smoking underage. So there's a glimmer of light there. The fact that nobody's smoking fucking cigarettes and nobody talks about that. There's no discussion about the fact that smoking rates at school have dropped or are almost zero. Do you want, right? There's no discussion of that. Instead, we want to talk about how the fact that kids are vaping. We understand that's happening, and we'll do everything we can to stop it. Just like we do it for alcohol, just like we do it for sugar, just like we do it for anything that's not good for you. Anything. It's crazy. Kids aren't smoking cigarettes. That's amazing. That's amazing. But here we are squandering, it's just crazy to me. It almost takes a moment. I feel like a documentary needs to come out with everyone that is 50 to 60 years old. And those guys that are telling the stories. I had a guy come in with his daughter the other day, and he was smoking his entire life. And his daughter convinced him to start vaping. And she's happy because he's happy. And he's happy because he's healthy. And he's happy because he doesn't stink. And he's happy because life is better. But let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about those things. Come on. Right? No monkeys or snakes allowed on bottles as of 2 weeks ago. Yeah. You know what? It's coming. I think for us to whine and complain that we can't put colors and animals and shit on our bottles is not the right way to go. We are not going anywhere. If you believe in this and you know that what you're doing is right, you'll fight through it. And I get a little nervous when I see a bunch of images online where people are showing us versus them, and it's like, you wanted a fight, you're gonna get a fight. I don't think that's the attitude to have. We don't want to seem like these guys, we're so mad. We need to be level-headed, right? We need to be logical. And if we're in this business and we want to stay in this industry, we don't get to choose everything. We don't get to dictate the direction of all of these things. We can have a role in it, and we can play a big role in that. But if you're in it for the right reasons, you're going to keep going. You're going to do it when it's plain black and white labels. Why? Because this is what you love. This is what's important to you, and you want to make sure nobody's fucking smoking. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if half of us just became flavoring companies that had pre-mixed resin. We'll figure it out, guys. We will figure it out. It will be fine. We'll survive. We'll make it. We just need to be cool. We just need to be cool. Adapt, improvise, prevail. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whining, complaining, yelling, arguing. It's not going to do shit but make us look like a bunch of fucking chums. We want to look professional. We want to look legit. Well, we get these rules and we deal with them and we give our opinion. We play our role. But remember, you're not in charge. We're not in charge. We're not in control. We have an influence. But at the end of the day, we need to adapt. We need to improvise. We need to prevail. That's it, right? There will always be a workaround somehow. It's going to be a struggle. Guys, any business is going to be a struggle no matter what. You need to be struggling. You need to be coming into these problems and figuring out ways to solve them. That's how you do business. That's how you grow. That's how you excel. So, I just want everyone to stay calm and stay happy and remember that what's here, the vaping community, what it presents to people who don't even vape yet, it's huge and it's bigger than you can think, even if they're trying to squander us. This is huge. It's not going anywhere. And as time goes on and science gets better, you can imagine that things are going to start to turn in our favor. We just got to hold on and be strong. I see Mike Williams says, I see kids chasing Nick where before they were trying to chuck some clouds. The rate of young adults chasing the high off vaping is absurd. That's undeniable. So yeah, there was always cause and effect. I want to pose a question to you. What do you see coming in the future? You know, it's crazy to me. I honestly think this fad of overdosing on nicotine is going to go away, because how many of you know how many of you have vaped too much? How many of you have over-nicked? Tell me how terrible of a feeling it is when you do too much nicotine. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good. You feel sick, you want to puke. So you got to start to ask yourself, if these kids are chasing a high on nicotine, that's got to get old real fucking fast. Real fast. Just like if you were vaping hardcore and you were doing 12 milligrams and all of a sudden it wasn't enjoyable anymore, you're going to drop down to 3. You're going to learn eventually it's not about the fucking nicotine. It's not about the nicotine. We're going to get back to that. I do want to touch on that a little bit more. Chris McLeod says, I think it's a touchy subject to talk about. Yes, kids aren't taking up smoking, and instead they are vaping. So on one hand, that's good. No smokes, no cancer. But at the same time, children are taking up nicotine. That's true. Especially hard to argue that point if you're in the industry, as it can look like a conflict of interest. You're 100% true. 100% true. Now, the funny part is, these conversations, when I talk about this, particularly this topic, with non-vapers, with just regular folks, they tend to agree. They tend to be like, oh yeah, no, you know, everyone I knew was smoking when they were fucking 16 years old. At least they're vaping. So it's not far off to say that the general public does understand the value. It's just their government might not, and they're the ones making decisions, which is kind of shitty, right? Why can't kids just do acid, shrooms, and smoke weed like normal kids used to? You know, it's funny, but it's also true in a way, right? Yeah. I just don't see the whole nicotine fad going on forever, right? And especially as soon as we discover the proper uses of nicotine and how it can benefit in so many other cases, the nicotine world is about to change. So I think we need to fight through this battle. Let's touch back on Mike, the future of vaping. My first vision. Is I definitely see nicotine, the opinion of nicotine changing as we understand it more, as we do more research on it, as we find other medical benefits to nicotine. I think it will be less demonized, which will force the government likely to kind of change their stance on it. I think over time, more and more people will be acceptable to it. We're in a weird area right now with the introduction of salt nicks and of course the youth getting their hands on it. It's frustrating, but that's the first thing I kind of see. I do see eventually over time nicotine being less demonized as we understand it more. As for vaping and like the labels and all that kind of stuff, removing colors and stuff, I do somewhat see that happening to an extent. I believe there'll still be little workarounds, still things we can do. But as far as like once they start getting into the childproof tanks and everything being childproof, you start to wonder how far they're going to go with the labels, but I do see it being stripped down a little more simplified in the future. I do see that coming, which will mean we all have to be a little bit more creative with that kind of thing. But at the same time, it might not get there. It might not get to that point. I think right now the concern is nicotine. It's nicotine, right? When you read through this document, there's not a lot of talk about compliancy with the labels and what can and can't be on it and what you can and can't say. And I know we touched on this with the previous bill, but it's funny that none of that was mentioned at all in any of this, and that it's strictly focused on nicotine. And I for one am really excited to see. I am excited to see what happens on the viewpoint of nicotine. And maybe we find a better delivery way of it being less toxic in consumption. Who knows? Something along those lines. Our nick is derived from eggplant. I do see a cap on nick strength coming. It's already there. I mean, we have the cap right now. In this document, it says 66, which we've been doing already. But that was more of pure nicotine. So, there may be another cap coming eventually too. I do see that eventually, but they don't understand. The government doesn't understand enough about the use of nicotine and the difference between salt nicks and freebase. So right now, I think they're just sticking with that 66, right? Because You're right. There will likely be another change, but any vaping substance containing 66 milligrams per milliliter or more of nicotine is excessively toxic if ingested. Therefore, it is proposed to continue to prohibit any vaping products containing nicotine at these concentrations. Yeah, so they're just reiterating the fact that we're sticking with the 66 milligram limit for now. Higher the next, the more government takes. Yeah, they're trying to. There was discussion of taxing the products based off of how much nicotine is in the product, which can get a little dicey, especially when you're dealing with the difference between freebase and salts. Yeah, Dave. Yeah, obviously they'll lower it a little bit more. I do believe that. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to happen any particular time soon. But if these new regulations don't work out for them and they're still experiencing a problem, that's likely the next course of action. Right? It makes sense. It's just like I said. It feels like this is just a start, and we're just going to kind of touch and touch and touch. And it's going to kind of expand and expand and expand. So guys, be prepared for changes. This is going to be the last time they fucking do this. This is going to happen all the time. All the time. We need to get over the fact that things are going to change all the time. We chose to be in this fucking industry. It's brand new. And if shit starts changing, you got to adapt. You don't sit here and complain about the changes. Right? I mean, that's why we're trying to do this. We're trying to be constructive on the fact of what's going on and understand that all of this is acceptable, to be honest. The time frame and them understanding some of the hardware, we haven't really got into the hardware requirements yet, but it all kind of it makes sense, guys. It makes sense, but we need to understand that this isn't going to be the first time. This is going to be the last time. It's going to happen again and again and again and again. But if you're in it for the right reasons, like I was saying, you're going to stick around and you're going to do some awesome stuff, and we're not going anywhere. We're here. Oh, that's me talking in the background. But yeah, no, I'm glad everyone's here and we're shooting the shit a little bit. Wendy says Nick was never demonized before. It was the tar that was demonized. My doctor said you should chew Nicorette gum. Yeah, see, you're right. Nicotine wasn't really demonized before. But it wasn't until e-cigarettes, the word e-cigarette, and us doing all that, and tobacco being... When they smushed us together with tobacco, the only thing they could take from tobacco was the nicotine to throw against us, right? So nicotine was their new enemy, because with the vape, they can't really say there's any tobacco in there. Oh, but there's nicotine in there. There's nicotine in there. Oh, you got nicotine in there. Like, come on. You know what's going to happen? They're going to ban all nicotine, and then kids are going to go to Starbucks and order 20 shots of espressos. That's going to be an expensive habit. But they'll get the same effect. Literally. You know what? When I hear a kid, I do it 50 milligrams on a salt. No. You know what? You want the same fucking effect? Go to Starbucks and do 20 shots of espresso. You'll get the same fucking feeling. You want to puke? You'll feel like shit. Getting high on nicotine is not fun. It's not enjoyable. So, again, I don't think that's going to last. I really don't think that's going to last. The younger generation that's vaping high milligram nicotine, they're going to get sick of it. They're going to feel sick, and they're going to want to change. Hopefully, they're going to switch over to 3 milligram freebase in a sub-ohm tank. You know what I mean? Like, or they're gonna do something else at like a 12 milligram salt nic because they want to enjoy it. Right now is their kids that make stupid decisions. We do it all the time, but it's not gonna last forever, right? They talk about these kids being like, all of a sudden, for the rest of their lives, they're gonna be fucking huffing 50 milligrams. No, if they were, they'd be on the fucking floor. That's not fun. That's not enjoyable. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Don't you agree? Does that make sense, right? Like, for some reason, when they discuss the head rush, people associate it with being fucking stoned. I'll tell you right now, I love marijuana. It's not the fucking same. It's not the same. It's not a psychoactive. It's literally as if you went and did like 20 shots of fucking espresso and you feel like shit. You know what I mean? Like, you guys know what I mean. But they'll, you know what? And this youth epidemic, they're gonna figure that out real quick. They don't need the government banning shit to do it. They're gonna not feel good. And I've seen it happen. I've seen 20-year-old kids come in, start at 50, and a week later they're like, yeah, no, I can't do 50. Yeah, because you saw it in your head. You probably heard it on the news. The kids, that's the funny part. Kids get the idea to overdose on nicotine because they hear about it on the news. You don't walk into a vape shop without getting told, what the fuck are you doing at 50 milligrams? You know, you need a good fucking reason for it. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Yeah, no, and I'm telling you, these supposed youth epidemic people that are going to eventually just smoke tobacco, you're wrong. You're wrong. They're going to eventually lower their nicotine dose. That's just what happens. That's just what happens. It's just what happens. If you want to enjoy your experience vaping, you will eventually lower your nicotine, especially if you're vaping often. Simple stuff, guys. Simple stuff. So these are the reasons why I'm not too scared. I'm not too worried. 1, prevail, adapt, survive. It's simple. I love this industry. I love the people in the industry. I love that my family members who used to smoke don't smoke. My girlfriend loves I don't smoke. Everybody loves that I don't smoke. I'm not going anywhere. Number 2, this vaping youth epidemic will come to an end not on its own per se, but because humans are humans, and if it doesn't feel good, they're not going to do it. That's simple. It feels good to get drunk, but at the end of the night, you're puking. That's a little easier. That's a little easier to adapt to. This nicotine shit that's going on with the 50 milligrams, kids getting headies, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. They're going to lower their nicotine strength, and then they're going to go buy some fucking candy edibles at the fucking cannabis store. Or they're going to go and get a fucking pack of Nicorette gum that contains more nicotine than a 30 ml bottle of 12 milligrams. No age restriction, no label requirements. Come on. Come on. Come on. Just like, you're right, just like a smoker, they also want to quit. Even a smoker that likes smoking, in the back of his head is going, I want to smoke less. So, through human nature, through just the way we are made, these guys, the youth epidemic with nicotine is not going to last, whether they restrict things or not. People want to feel good. It doesn't feel good to be overdosing on nicotine. It's not an enjoyable experience, and maybe that's what the world needs to fucking hear. These kids, if these kids are doing 50 milligrams and getting headies, guess what? 10 minutes later, they're not going to be happy. It's not going to be enjoyable. It's very simple. It's very simple. Anyways, guys, that's me ranting. That's, whatever happened to kids just smoking weed? They do. They do. That's the funny part. That is the funny part. And you know what? Actually, somebody posted the other day. They asked their kid, was that Dave? Did you post that? They asked their kid about vaping, and they said, yeah, back like a year ago, you know, there's like 100 kids in their class or in their school vaping, and now there's like 10 or 20. You know fucking why? Do you know why? Because it's not fun anymore. It feels shitty. And when they learn that, they're not going to do it. Plus, you got all this shit on the news. Like, they naturally, these kids naturally are just going to stop doing it because it's not enjoyable. How many times can I say this? I think I should say it one more fucking time. Doing too much nicotine does not feel good. And if the youth are doing it, they're going to stop because it doesn't feel good. They just haven't figured that fucking out yet. What's going on, Chris? How you doing? I'm glad you guys all came here to shoot the shit with me. I needed to get a lot of this off my chest, but I didn't want to go like into the details of this document yet. I need to reread it like 10 more fucking times, what I do want to do is make a little template, a little example of basically if I were to take this and I wasn't even in the industry and I read all this stuff, this is what I would assume that a label should appear as. And believe it or not, it looks a lot like the FDA. But yeah, I'm glad we can shoot the shit about this stuff. I know a lot of you guys were messaging me, panicking, worrying, and I've been talking to a few of you guys about the labels. Like I said, I will get a little example of what I believe is correct. Be careful for a lot of you guys paying for compliancy officers and stuff. I mean, obviously, look at the changes that come so quickly. Just read and reread. Spend time. Read the document. Read the fucking document. I know it looks like it's a long, boring document, and I know things get repeated over and over and over again, but it's important. Print this off, take it with you to the bathroom. Read it. Read it again, then read it again, then read it again. Because if you really do want to stay in the game here and not like lose your fucking mind, understand as much as you can of this. And try not to make too many assumptions, because that'll get you into trouble. But it's hard. It's hard not to make assumptions because some of this is so vague. But yeah, that's where we stand. And I mean, as far as the labels go, we are definitely looking at your typical American style looking design with the warning nicotine on the front and all that fun stuff. You have a link for the new document? Yes, I will repost it. It is it's right on the Government of Canada's website. Well, it's kind of the Government of Canada's website. Gazette.gc.ca. It's a big long link, so I will send it to you. It's titled Canada Gazette Part 1, Volume 153, Number 25. Vaping Products, Labeling and Packaging Regulations. I will actually, maybe I can post it. I'm going to see if I can find it right now for you. Does anybody have the link for this document that I can just paste immediately here? I'll pin it up in the I'm trying to track it down here. I should have saved the link for it. I just printed the fucking thing. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna grab this link and I'm gonna post it into the chat. Okay, there it is. Oh, she got it. Okay, good. I'm gonna pin it anyways so that everybody else can go read it if they want. Pin. There we go. So that's the link for the Gazette. Have a read. It's about 54 pages. A lot of them you probably get to about page. A lot of it's just like links at the back. You'll probably get to page like 15, and then the rest is probably not super important for you to read. But I recommend everybody just reads it over and over again. It can be confusing. It will be confusing. That's okay. That's okay, because not everything is for us. But just read it, and even if you don't understand it, reread it again. We're going to talk about. Everybody's going to be talking about this for a while, so let's just try to be as prepared as we can, and that's it. And let's try not to. I got something in my eye. Let's try not to complain too much, right? Let's not. This is just my opinion. You don't have to listen to me. Chris says, is this the wrong time to get into the industry, or is it the right time with all the regs coming into place? There is no wrong or right time, Chris. It's up to you, man. Oh man, yeah, definitely got something in my eye. It's up to you, man. Follow your heart. Do what you want to do. There is no real answer to is now the right time or is it not the right time. I see people ask that all the time, and people have an answer for that, and they say yes or no. And I don't think anybody can say yes or no. If you love what you do and you got passion, man, and you put it forth, it doesn't matter when. If you're doing it for money, then yeah, you probably not the place to go. But if it's about passion, it's about what you love, man, you just do it. You just do it. But it's just my opinion, but I think we shouldn't be posting pictures and stuff that say, like, you want to fight, we'll give you a fight. And we don't need any aggressive, and it doesn't take much to sound aggressive, guys. It doesn't take much. We don't want to sound like we're at war with the government. That's not how this works. That's a real sure, fast way to get it all over. But you know what I mean? Christopher, yes, amen. No, not money. This has saved my fucking life. Yes, absolutely. Then you do what makes you happy, guys. At the end of the day, it doesn't, like, the money doesn't matter. None of this fucking matters unless you're happy. If you're doing this and you're not happy, stop. Go do something that makes you happy. If it makes less money, but it means you're happy, go do it. Go do it. If you're upset with something, if you don't like the way something is done, change it. If you can't, find another way. If it's making you miserable, don't. But if it makes you happy, it doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. Whether you're making e-liquid, whether you own a vape shop, whether you make crafts or art or sell cars or whatever the fuck it is you do. If you are happy, that's all that fucking matters. And you know what makes me happy? Talking to you guys, making products for the vape industry, and meeting all you guys, and just doing all of this makes me happy. I could care less if nobody came in the door and gave me any money. I'd still fucking do this. I was doing it before. I'll keep doing it. I love it. I love you guys. I love the conversations. I love it all, man. I love it all, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. And no matter what's being thrown at me, and I also will not, for the most part, I might have to remind myself sometimes, I won't complain. I will not complain. I refuse to complain. We're just going to fight through it. And we're going to do what we got to do. And remember, there's a million other things that probably make you happy too. So, it's okay to start over. It's okay to do new things. Don't ever think you can't. If you go to school for 10 years to be a doctor and you decide that you're better at basketball, don't be afraid to go play basketball. Don't be miserable. Don't be miserable. But guys, look, I appreciate it. It's technically my day off, so I'm gonna wrap this up. If anybody else, is there anything else we want to shoot the shit about before we go here? We will do another podcast. We will do another podcast where we will go through every single bit of this document together. We might not understand it, but we'll get there, and we'll figure out the answers together. We'll figure out the answers together. It's more important now than ever for all of the vape shops, all of the e-liquid companies, and everybody to come together and help each other and discuss and share and learn and grow. Most importantly, adapt, survive, prevail, and keep people off the fucking cigarettes. It's very simple, right? Cheers, guys. Hey, Chris, thanks for the follow, man. Thank you so much. You can catch a lot of our podcasts over on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. I haven't put up much today. I haven't put up much on new stuff onto the server there, but mostly because there's been a lot of this kind of stuff. I do prefer a little bit of a back and forth for the upcoming uploaded podcast. But guys, look, I appreciate you guys as always. I'm really glad we could shoot the shit about this. And if you're just getting here now, watch from the beginning. We talked about some good stuff today. It wasn't a bunch of humbo mumbo. Some valuable stuff, guys. What's going on, Nathan? How you doing, man? I appreciate you all. I love you all. And there will be more. Things are amping up. I've got a lot more content to create for you guys, and there's a lot of things to shoot the shit about, and I really, really, really want to try and get more of you guys on here live with me talking right on the show. But until then, guys, take it easy. Have a great Sunday. Stay off the cigarettes, and most importantly, most importantly, guys, be happy. If you're a smart person, then there's no fucking reason you should ever be unhappy, because smart people can figure out how to be happy. Does that make sense? Does that make fucking sense? Okay? Just be happy, guys. Enjoy it. Don't worry. We'll be fine. We're here together. We'll make it through. I love you guys. We'll see you later. Peace. Peace.
Welcome to the West Coast Clouds podcast. This is Nick, your host. This is the new Vape podcast for vapors, where we bring you opinions, reviews, and industry news. You're listening to West Coast Clouds.